you guys hear me? Start cheering now!
Hello, everybody. Gonna do a podcast. Here they are. You can hear them now.
Me. Don't forget to tweet, Jeff. I'm tweeting right now. I'm a good boy. And skeeting, more importantly.
Tweeting and skeeting.
I'm gonna skeet too.
The Pog Slammer
I'm gonna skeet
story.
you for a ride.
I got a lot of good engagement when I skeet about this show for some reason.
Oh yeah, they can see us and they can hear us. Hello, everybody. I just skeeted. I am gonna test the music. Let me turn off this Bomberman Hero soundtrack and hit.
No, don't.
Hey, you guys hear me? Start cheering now!
You guys hear that?
Yep, sure do. Thank you.
I miss the old setup. I miss the good audio. I'm not saying this is a bad audio.
Talk about me.
The size
That one
audio.
show. Look, once I get my new computer, a lot of things will improve, but it's gonna wait till then.
Okay, I think we're good.
Oh, let me ask you what you're getting after in one of the breaks.
I'm sorry,
All right.
Christian. What are you
I'm ready.
saying?
Don't worry, something
No,
you said to
dude.
me.
Oh, okay.
To Mike, yeah. I'm ready.
Okay, cool. Yeah, Fudsack. We he wanted to go out in the snow today because he saw the snow, and he's a Norwegian forest cat, so he could handle it for like 5 minutes. And then he's like, "Please let me come back inside." Yeah, no problem, dude. All right, I'm going to count us in, and we will get started in 5, 4, 3.
Hey, you guys hear me? Start cheering now! Yeah, let's get this over with. Yeah.
Woof woof. Hi, I'm Mike Minotti, and I am a Nintendog.
Hi, I'm Jeff Grubb, and I am a Nintendog.
And we are the last of the Nintendogs.
Ruff,
Today
ruff, ruff.
is this finally the week. Are we just days away from the Switch 2 announcement? Nintendo is being crappy about crediting developers once again. And is that a dolphin I hear?
I my ears perked up, and I think I hear a dolphin.
I think I
Minotti.
heard a dolphin. We might have to run that audio underwater or something. but first, hi, Jeff Grubb. How's it going? Leaker of the Year, Jeff Grubb.
Yeah, that's right. Yep, that's me, everybody.
Did it.
It was, yeah. I was like, I wonder how they decided that was a popular vote, I guess. And I am the most popular man in America. So I've always said that. So it makes a lot of sense when it came down to things.
I am happy about it just because for a bit there'd always be some turn of like why trust Jeff Grubb? He got that one thing wrong 4 years ago.
It is like a reminder. It's like, oh yeah, most of the people are just quietly consuming this stuff, and then when you ask them, like, hey dude, what do you think? It's like, yeah, Jeff seems to know what he's talking about. Yeah, you're right. It's most of the time you just hear the people being weird about it. But Sure. I never got a trophy or anything, so I don't know how real this is.
You can work on that.
Yeah, I should just make one myself. And
well, don't do that for yourself. That's pathetic. But
no, I want it to be pathetic.
You.
To be clear, I want it to be pathetic.
Okay, I can make it pretty pathetic myself.
Okay, all right. That straddles the line of pathetic and something I could still put on a shelf during a stream.
All right, I'll expense backler for it.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, good. But yeah, I don't know. We're settling into 2025 here a bit. It's still this kind of interesting lull right now for the game industry for the most part. We have more news to talk about than we've had any week so far on Last Nintendogs in quite a while, actually. So that's nice. But how are you finding the year?
So far, so good. I mentioned on Bombcast, been a bit distracted, having a difficult time paying attention to things, giving things my full attention. I think part of that is it's been very cold and very snowy, so it's been hard to get outside and get some sun. So they get a little bit of seasonal, affective disorder, whatever it is, and then just kind of that sprint at the end of the year that always happens of trying to get so many games in, and then I get to the other side of that, and I'm like, I feel a little lost. It's like I don't have that direction anymore. I get to pick whatever game I want to play, but I've been the last couple of days been eating better, been sleeping better, and been feeling better. And I think it's that is going to roll over here pretty soon into me spending some more time with some more games. I've been playing more of that Caves of Cud, and that has been, I think that's hooking me, I think. So, yeah.
I got to get my sleep schedule out of control. I got to just get on a no nap situation again, no matter. I say that, and then it always rolls up to 5:30 p.m. And I'd be like, what sounds better than anything in the world right now?
Right there with you, Mike. I know. Yeah, absolutely. And then it gets to 3:30 for me, and I'm just crashing every day still. So it's I try to only take those little naps, but I know that's not your thing. But
no, there's a problem. In fact, today I was I'll take a little nap instead. Just slept throughout most of the day. So now I'm not gonna be able to get to sleep tonight. It's a big problem. It's just wasting time. There's things that I need to do around the house that I'm not doing instead of this.
Yeah.
So it's pathetic. I gotta work on it.
That was the other thing is I just let things pile up over the holiday, and took forever to get the Christmas decorations put away. Honestly, they're piled up right back there in the bins. I have not actually finished that. And these little things have just been piling up in the back of my head of, well, I can't enjoy myself. I have grown man responsibilities I need to do. And I just need to bite the bullet and get through these things. But I'm sleepy, Mike.
Yeah, but I get so sleepy. Gosh. And what I hate, because I know if I just push through that, I always tell myself, I got to take a nap now because I have stuff to do tonight. I'll never be awake. I know that I'm always awake again at 8 p.m. every time without fault. So it's just BS. And yeah, the tree is still up, and it's not horrifically late, but it's late enough that I feel bad about it. So
I start to feel bad about it when no one on my street has decorations up, or does, many people on my street still have their lights turning on every night. And again, it's been very cold, so no one's really taking them down. But I'm using that as a barometer of when I'm going to feel real shame.
Yes, exactly. Right. Yeah. We have to give us some grace on that one. That one I don't feel too bad about too, because and my lights are mostly pretty discreet. I can kind of honestly, I might just unplug them for a while until it gets way warmer out.
Exactly. Yeah, that's totally fine. I got a deer that fell over last week that I haven't picked up or whatever.
Shit.
So yeah, exactly.
All right, Jeff, let's get to it. Switch 2 happening this Thursday. Podcaster Nate the Hate claims Switch 2 reveal will happen on January 16th with a focus on hardware, with a software showcase expecting to follow up in late February, early March. Lots of people are kind of corroborating this, hearing similar things, including you right now. Sometimes as these things happen and maybe everybody's getting the same bad information, but when this many people seem this confident in the sources, there's got to be some smoke to the fire here. So yeah, let me just ask you again. Is that happening, Jeff? Do you think this is it?
I think so. Yeah, it's you definitely got the sense that a lot of people were sitting on this and being I'm pretty sure, I'm pretty confident about this, but we'll see. And then as soon as Nate said something, everyone jumped on it. And it was VGC. I think Eurogamer might have done something. Kit and Krista said, "Hey, we think it's happening this week."
We were privately talking about kind of hearing this date before, it was blowing up.
Well, and I don't think we were the only ones having that private conversation. I think a lot of people were doing the same thing, being yep, sounds like it's next Thursday. I talked to somebody in Europe, who is like, yeah, we've heard next week a bunch of times, but also, we've been burned a couple times, so we're going to sit on this stuff. And I just think now everyone's like, yeah, it's there's too much smoke, as you said. Also, we do have the benefit of knowing we are pretty close to the end of March. It is like there's only so many more weeks this can happen. We're on the other side of CES. We're on the other side of the holidays. We're before next week. We're in, inauguration or whatever, but Martin Luther King Jr. Day. This week just makes sense from a structural standpoint. So I think that, I think we can expect to find out that this is going to happen tomorrow. Even Wednesday, we will probably get a little bit of a pre-announcement.
The announcement.
Yeah, I think they'll actually, instead of just dropping out of nowhere, which they obviously could also just do that. But I get the sense that they're probably gonna be like, hey, no, tune in. We'll have maybe not even like a tiny video, but like a pretty robust video that shows this thing off. And again, it's going to be hardware. The focus of this first reveal will be hardware. But still, I think they'll have plenty to talk about there.
Yeah, like the only other thing happening this week is, they're releasing Donkey Kong Country Returns, but it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, you kind of can't let something like that get in the way anymore.
No. I mean, it's just such a small potato game at this point. I mean, the reviews reflect that a bit. It's like getting a lot of 7s. People are saying it's a good game and a very kind of not too exciting update here. Yep. No frills, right? So sure. I mean, you know what? Hey, that game will play on the Switch too, so it's not like you're overshadowing it completely in that way.
Exactly.
I do hate that I'm kind of like lowering my expectations in terms of what we will see, because I bet there will almost be a little bit of like wow, we got all excited for that just to see the thing and it looks exactly like all the leaks did, and we didn't learn anything about software. Hopefully, we at least see like somebody playing it and on their screen is what is clearly the new Mario game, or we see, Tears of the Kingdom or Breath of the Wild running at 60 frames per second at a moment here. Just a little bit of extra juice in this first reveal. But once this ball gets rolling, it's going to get rolling pretty quickly, I assume.
Yeah. I think they will be quick to reveal things. I think we get out of this announcement and we probably have details, if not immediately, very soon afterward about, hey, and then catch up with us again in February for the full reveal event, where we will have information about everything, and that includes price, specifics on pre-order information, specifics on games, and pricing for the games themselves. All that stuff will happen at that event later. So, I like you said, ball will start rolling, and that will be exciting for a lot of reasons. But yeah, you're right. I think we could get to whatever this is on Thursday, this video, and we see it, and it is just what we've seen before. I guess it'll be nice that I get the hunch we'll probably understand what the C button does, or have a good idea of what the C button does coming out of this. That's something. But yeah, overall, I am just glad that we are here. That's the biggest thing. We're here. It's happening, and very soon we might actually have this device in our hands.
Would be kind of funny if it still didn't happen.
Yeah, definitely, of course. Yeah. And
it could. It still could. Nothing's guaranteed here, but it just seems very likely. Do we get a launch date in this first reveal?
I think we might get a launch month. I think they might just say, if it's April, I think they'll be like, and it's coming out in April. But that's so close. A date makes a lot of sense still. Yeah. I just think pricing is maybe something they hold off on. A lot of times we get these early initial reveals and the price doesn't show up there. But again, if it's really coming out in April, that's so close, maybe they don't hesitate on that either.
Now we're getting the hardware. Supposedly, when do we get like the software? Like,
so that'll
be late February, early March is what people are hearing.
Yeah, the rumor is it'd be sometime in February. But yeah, as Mike says, that could easily be early March as well. So yep. And then at that point, it's like, just either go buy this thing or whatever, and then the thing comes out in April. Still, seems to be the common rumor now.
That's wild. All right. So kind of moving on from that for a bit, we're going to talk some more about the Switch 2. We have a topic this week. We're going to try to figure out what we think the launch lineup is going to look like on that thing. So that'll be fun. But speaking of Donkey Kong Country Returns HD, Nintendo has once again removed the original staff credits from the thing. So the retro staff credits aren't in there. This is from Ollie Reynolds at Nintendo Life. So much like Metroid Prime Remaster before it, Nintendo's opted to omit the original Retro Studios development team from the credits on the new release. Instead, it simply states, based on the work of the original development staff. This is always shitty, Jeff. It seems kind of insane this time, when again, there's some extra work happening here, and it got ported, sure, but this is just that game that those people made. How do you not include them in the credits?
Yeah, this is just something they got to fix. They got to stop doing this. Yeah, that is their work that, it's based on. No, it is that. It's that game that you're just putting on a different system. Don't be crazy. This is a crazy thing to do.
It's the easiest thing. It's the credits, right? Like, most people aren't going to read them anyways. Just put them on there. That doesn't cost any money.
Yeah, you don't have to pay people if you put them in the credits, especially in video games. So, yeah, what is the fear here? I really don't get it.
Unless it just comes back to this weird Nintendo thing of wanting everybody just think of stuff as Nintendo. Same reason why they won't tell us like what teams are actually developing their games.
But we know that people make these games. We do know that, Nintendo. We're not that stupid. They're very silly.
They're very weird about it. And because people are now seeing the credits, we know that it's Forever Entertainment, a Poland-based company that's done this game. They've worked on projects like the Panzer Dragoon remake, House of the Dead remakes, the Front Mission remakes. Although when I look at the credits, they're usually listed as a publisher. They're the developer on this one, seemingly. So that's interesting. It doesn't seem like a company that has done a full development project for Nintendo before. They've done a lot of stuff for Switch, but not for Nintendo directly. So maybe just another kind of horse in the stable for Nintendo now, as it might look to get even more ports rolling in the future here.
Yeah, and this is always going to be a kind of thing where this will just keep happening until there's some sort of governing body within gaming that can dictate how this stuff should be done, and that's not going to happen anytime soon.
So there have been other rumors floating around, Jeff, about Assassin's Creed and Metal Gear Solid Delta coming to the Switch too. This is kind of a new floodgate, right? So many people are going to want to put more games on Switch 2 if the hardware is just powerful enough to kind of make it work, right? Even at 30 frames per second, or maybe better, whatever it takes. But especially in regions like Japan and in other regions, games just sell so well on Switch, often compared to other platforms. Like once you want your games on there. So yeah, Metal Gear Solid Delta makes sense. Assassin's Creed makes sense. There's so many other things like Final Fantasy VII Remake, Street Fighter 6, just, anything that is kind of a hit and would like more players. Even stuff like Final Fantasy 14, right? Like you think about that, like an MMO, which, they bothered putting it on Xbox. Why aren't they going to bother trying to get it on the Switch 2, which has a much, larger potential of reaching people, to be honest. So yeah, the floodgates are kind of opening up on all of this stuff, it seems.
Yeah, I think there's been a lot of publishers who have been just waiting for the Switch 2 to do this. And I think a lot of them recognize that being there at launch is very important. So I think that, yeah, we can expect a lot more third-party support for the Switch 2 than we've seen over the years and at the Switch's launch. I don't know if that ends up meaning that, EA comes in with all their sports games or whatever. I think they still see that as a different audience that isn't as excited about Madden or whatever. But it's still, I think, a sign that we can expect a lot more. And yeah, I think there were quite a few Assassin's Creed games that did come to the Switch, and a lot of those were older ports or whatever. And I think that
Assassin's Creed 3.
Yes, yes, and Rogue was on there. Assassin's Creed Rogue was in a bundle or whatever with 4. Yeah, and I think that that will probably end up being the case as we get into the later generation. But when you're here, I think, yeah, if you have Metal Gear Solid Delta and you can get that on a Switch 2, you want that game to perform well around the world. You kind of need Switch to help make that fully happen. So yeah, I'm excited about this as well. I hope that these games can find an audience on Switch. I think what will end up happening still is Nintendo games will sell better than everything else far and away, by a wide margin, which is kind of how it's always been. And then there'll be a handful of these bigger games that do okay. And then, people still treat this as their indie gaming machine. And indie games will continue to pop off on the Switch too.
Yeah, there are a lot of these kind of AAA games that maybe were slightly disappointing or just underperformed a lot in terms of what sales were expecting that playing on Switch 2 might help, like Star Wars Outlaws, right? Or even like a Final Fantasy 16, right, which is, got ported to PC recently. So porting has happened there. So it's a lot of possibilities on the front. And then it'll be really interesting to see going forward what that looks like, right? Like, those Resident Evil 9, does that come to the Switch 2 day and date with all the other platforms? That's what I'll be curious to see.
Yep. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, someone in chat mentioned expecting both of the Star Wars Jedi games, and like, yeah, the JR said that. It's like, yeah, I could see EA. They did all that work to get those things on Xbox One and PS4. The Switch,
right.
People keep throwing on PS4 Pro. I think we'll have to wait and see if it's actually that powerful. But if it is, then yeah, why not?
Sega has done a trademark for another classic series, Jeff. They've been bringing back all sorts of stuff with these exciting announcements like Shinobi, Jet Set Radio, Crazy Taxi, Golden Axe. Whenever we see these things, it looks kind of neat. Well, now apparently there's been new trademarks for Echo the Dolphin. The trademarks were made public on January 14th, 2025. The series celebrates 30th anniversary in 2022. It's been a while since we got a new game. Jeff, we've been kind of excited about the potential of Echo's return for a while here. For people who aren't, maybe weren't here at the time, one of the all-time podcast moments we had was when Sega was teasing what turned out to be hyenas with this weird distorted animal sound that we convinced ourselves was a dolphin underwater by Star Trek 4ing the audio file. If you know, you know. That didn't end up being anything. But hey, sounds like we might still get an Echo game before Hyenas ever comes out, because it's never going to come out.
Yeah, it sounds like they are correcting their mistake. They recognize they watched that episode of the podcast. Like, these guys seem way more excited about Echo the Dolphin than anyone is about Hyenas. So yeah, hey, they should definitely do this. I think if they kind of just make a new 2D Echo, but with like really like striking realistic visuals, that could be really cool. Yes. I don't know what they're going to end up doing with this, but give us more Echo the Dolphin.
Yeah, and just kind of keep that tone from those games where it takes itself very seriously for a game starring a dolphin, and maybe ease off some of the stuff that made it a little impenetrable for some people. Maybe, look, I don't know if you need to get rid of the whole he needs to breathe oxygen thing completely, but maybe you get a lot more lenient with how that system works. But if you did this as one big continuous map, Metroidvania style, there was like that one underwater Metroidvania style game that I remember people liked. I can't remember the name now. Whenever I looked at it, I was like, they should just make an Echo the Dolphin game, kind of like this. That would rule.
I think it should be like SteamWorld Dig 2, where you can go down for like 10 minutes at a time, and then you got to come back up to the surface. But as you're upgrading Echo, then it can go down longer and longer and longer, to the point where then eventually it can just go down forever. And then it's got all these powers to get through the Metroidvania maze stuff. Yeah, that would rule.
Yeah, I guess you could even kind of go the roguelike route with it, right? So, if you run out of oxygen and die, yeah, it's frustrating, but it's like, well, but you got some stuff from that run that you can keep, and yeah, you can get stronger here. I do kind of hope they go the 2D route. Defenders of the Future is great, but I don't know if they're really ready to scale up a Echo the Dolphin game of that size again.
Right, people are mentioning Maneater. I've heard other people say that, like, make an Echo the Dolphin that's like Maneater. It's like, yeah, I could kind of see that. That was that shark game from a few years back, for people who are wondering.
Right.
That was people like that game. That was a good B game, and maybe Echo could do something along those lines. I just have a hard time seeing how that would fit with Echo.
Yeah, exactly. I do want something that still ultimately does feel like those Genesis games, just kind of the best version of that, with a lot of the, a lot of those rougher edges smoothed out. Yeah, I think Aquaria was that game I was talking about, which came out back in 2007. Thank you, chat. But yeah, I just want a realistic looking dolphin, kind of having this weird, serious adventure about aliens abducting his family again, right? It's good shit. Echo rules. I mean, even back then, there was always something with Echo. Everybody was talking about Echo, thinking about Echo, because it was just neat. It was just
different. It was
neat.
So much different than everything else. Yes.
It really was. So I would love to see Echo coming back. It warms my heart. All right. One last thing here, Jeff. Nintendo Music has now added The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker to its library. I think this is only the second GameCube game on there after Metroid Prime. So nice to see. I've said this before. I love the compositions of the Wind Waker soundtrack. I think the instrumentation of those MIDI instruments and the MIDI kind of, files that they're using there. Same thing with Twilight Princess. I think it sounds very flat. So I've always hoped that they would reorchestrate this for maybe a future re-release. Like if you ever listen to like that orchestrated suite of Wind Waker music from that one CD that came with Skyward Sword, like listen to that version of the Great Ocean or whatever it's called with soaring trumpets and whatnot. Then listen to that flat MIDI version. I like MIDI music. MIDI music can't be soaring and great, but it just didn't feel like the right fit here for me sometimes.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, the music's still fantastic, and it'll be awesome to have it on Nintendo Music for sure. But yeah, I think I'm still with you where I'm like waiting for Nintendo to put out that version of Wind Waker where it has because that would be a huge upgrade at this point. So, and Nintendo clearly learned that lesson, or if it was, they just were like, hey, we could do better, and they've done better with all of their games since. Now they do use live instrumentation for so many of their soundtracks, and they're kind of the best at it. So
like even when Thousand Year Door remake happened, they had the arranged orchestrated sounding. I don't know if it was actually an orchestra, but it was an arranged newer soundtrack, and I thought it sounded amazing. There's always going to be people who prefer the original, and I like when they have the option to use the original. Same. But a lot of times I do like the way the new arranged stuff sounds.
Sure.
All right. That's it for news, Jeff. We could take a break here and then read some super chats. Looks like we got a bunch in today.
Yeah, let's do a quick break and get right back to the super chats.
All right. Break it up. They should make a Subnautica Echo the Dolphin.
Yeah, sure.
Cool
Real
first
scary.
person.
That's what I need to play at some point still. I'm ready to just get back to it. Yep.
All
ready
right.
to just go. All right. You ready, Jeff?
Yeah, I'm ready.
You had the super chat, Chef?
Yep, looking at him.
All right.
All right, Jeff, we're back. Would you like to read the super chat, sir?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's start here with Simon from Saskatchewan. He's got a handful here to start us off. Jeff, did you hide the game sent at Mike's? No, as I mentioned, the game sent has been destroyed. So, no, it is not at Mike Minotti's house. Although that's a good idea. I wish I would have done that instead.
I'm glad you did it, because I was going to do it. Like, I kept telling you guys, hey, you can send it here. I will destroy it, and it won't be my fault. I'm telling you my intentions.
Well, I'll get another one. We'll make it happen. Simon from Saskatchewan comes back and says, heard Jeff talk about old-timey swearing on GB. I love old swear words. My fave is from the U.S. in the 19th century, liver disturber. Any guesses what it is?
Would that have to be something with drinking, I assume, right?
I assume, yeah. Right? That would be my guess. But there is no answer here, so we'll see if Simon comes back with the
knowing
answer.
the 19th century, it's probably like, you're a donkey piss drinker or something.
Simon's back again. Do you remember Pirates of Dark Water cartoon? I remember being pissed when they canceled it. It had a great Super Nintendo game I rented when I was a kid. I do not remember this.
The only thing I know about this game is that SNES game. Actually, it's funny because that was the time where licensed games were so profitable that they were just, licensing out the show before it even came out.
Yep.
So there's a bunch of weird cartoon shows that didn't last like 8 episodes that have SNES games.
Yeah.
Like Family Dog and whatnot.
I don't remember this at all. The Super Nintendo game, don't remember it. So yeah, I'm curious. So I'll have to take a look at it. Last one from Simon for now. Could Mike's tattoo be a shoot pog slammer? How does your family like the new nickname? Also, next movie you must force watch is Joker 2. It's just trash.
Absolutely not. I actually did get a message from my brother today. He's like, you're going to have to explain this Pog Slammer thing to me. I think I missed it. And I left that on red.
I get it. Yeah. Have your brother reach out to me. I'll give them all the details.
No, absolutely not.
Philip Fortuna says, the sun doesn't just have nukes. It is a nuke. A giant one that exists due to the sun's gravity. The power of billions of Earth nukes every second. Yeah, listen. I'm aware of all this. I felt pretty discouraged with trying to explain it all to Dan when he said the sun doesn't have nukes.
I don't usually like to be like being like, oh, Dan's stupid. He's very dumb about the sun.
The sun is a blind spot for him, which is weird.
Yeah.
Right, because it's the brightest thing.
The thing is that he refuses to believe whatever you tell him, like it's scientifically accurate. It's like, no, that's not how it works. I don't see a nuke blowing up.
Yep.
Like,
now, look, I get that the sun's been there his whole life, so he's just normal to him. And like, look, maybe if there was just a giant ass in the sky since the day he was born, that would be normal too. But I still would have hoped at some point he would stop and be like, what's the deal with that giant ass in the sky? And like, go to the library and read a book or just Google it or something.
But I think based on the evidence we have to assume he would not do that. Big Jimbo Ryan, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, tis all. Okay, Big Jim Ryan.
Thank you, Jim Ryan.
The Big Jim Ryan comes back and says, compared to Year of Luigi, Year of Shadow was great. So good, they even gave Luigi and this I says, I am being informed by my lawyers not to finish that sentence. Yep, good idea, Jimbo. Good idea.
Good to see you, Jimbo.
B. Traven says, we should all temper our expectations for the Switch 2 announcement. Probably going to be boring AF if there are no games since the hardware is samey. Yeah, I mean, I saw someone on Gaming Leaks and Rumors say, like, you're not allowed to be disappointed in the reveal. It's like, I don't know, I might still be disappointed. We'll see. I'm still going to buy the thing and play it and enjoy it. This is just one moment in the timeline.
I don't think I'll be disappointed because, just seeing a thing is going to be exciting enough for me in a lot of ways. And I kind of, I'm expecting that. Like, we're just going to see the thing. And if there is, like, not even a second of a game being shown, just the tease of one, that'll feel a little weird to me. But no, just the fact that it's finally happening, it's finally out there, that'll be nice itself.
Jay Wims is a Hamilton member, a new Hamilton member. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Chris Pratt says, the Switch 2 C button stands for Chris Pratt.
No, that makes sense. Mystery solved.
Well, there we go. I mean, yeah. I will just call it the Chris Pratt button from now on. Thank you, Chris Pratt. Big Fresh 37 says, can I hope for a new Snipper Clips or Captain Toad? I don't think either of those are like completely off the table. But
isn't it just the Mario team that made Captain Toad?
Yeah, I think so. That sounds right.
I think they're a little busy.
Didn't you review that game? How don't you know that out of the top of your head? That's crazy.
Listen.
Yeah. I think instead of doing a new Snipper Clips, they would just use like, this console's Snipper Clips, whatever that is. Yes. I don't think we're getting Snipper Clips too.
Yeah, that's probably right.
So yeah, Jeff was nice, but I'm going to say no. There is no hope for those.
Yeah, Mike is very aggressive about his hate for Snipper Clips.
It's true. It just fills me with rage.
The Uncharted Wolf. I was going to start Metaphor today, but instead played Vampire Survivors all day.
Smart.
Has there been a game you've played that was unhealthy for you? Yeah, probably.
I mean, I played World of Warcraft on and off for 20-something years here. So yes,
Destiny 2.
Yeah, I've definitely played games that have like injured me, and I tried to play through it. So yeah, definitely. Screaming Madden, does Nintendo play a White Denim song for showcasing the new Switch? Nintendo used White Denim's song "Ha Ha 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 Yeah" for the Switch reveal in 2016.
It will be interesting if this reveal has the same "How do you do, fellow kids" energy as that last one, right? With the rooftop party and all of the at that point, millennials were still young and hot. So I guess maybe it has to be Zoomers now. I don't know, but I'm very curious to see what the tone is going to be like this time.
It's probably going to be Creed. They're going to use Creed music. Hold me now. I'm a Switch 2.
Not you, millennial. I know you're still young and hot. Please, I didn't talk about you. Don't get mad at me.
Let's see here. James Collier says, why do they re-release this game and not Donkey Kong 64? They figured out Banjo for NSO. Dozens of us are mad.
I mean, one thing they haven't really done a whole lot of on the Switch, they did a little bit on the 3DS, is remaster, remake, and 64 games, right? We got, we have NSO, and we had, the ROM file for Super Mario 64 in 3D All-Stars. But no, they haven't done much with Nintendo 64 games on the Switch. It was much more about, obviously, Wii U and GameCube, and a bit of Wii this time around.
Yeah, I think they officially put N64 on that side of the fence, where now it sits with the retro games, according to Nintendo. So yeah, I think that's part of it. Why is it not on NSO?
It's weird.
I mean, it'll happen eventually. Nintendo's weird. I think it's probably that simple. And
they had this big Donkey Kong push, but specifically only for games that had the word country in the title. So no Donkey Kong 64, even though that's very much in that lineage.
Right, it's a rare
no
game,
Donkey Kong 94. None of the blank fours.
Right, exactly. And they would even have to figure out like they did with Banjo, because they fully own Donkey Kong 64 top to bottom. So
yeah. Weird.
Kitty Cat Man 93 says, congrats on the leaky, Grubb. Yes. Yeah, is that what they really do? They really call them leakies? That's pretty good.
That'd be good. The leakies, I like that.
I
Yeah.
want a leaky. Straw Hat NPC says, I ordered a Retroid Pocket 5 and never owned a GameCube. What GameCube games that never got remastered would you recommend I jump into?
Ooh, that's fun. Get the original. God, now I'm blanking on the name of it. You know, the guy Henshin Agogo, baby. There was a game called Red Hot Rumble. Beautiful Joe.
Beautiful Joe. You made me forget. I was about to say it.
I know.
It just
Sorry,
left my brain.
just a weird brain fart on that one. Yeah, get Beautiful Joe. Get Super Smash Bros. Melee. F-Zero GX. Those are incredible.
Geist, says Marino.
Guys, I like Wario World. I think that's a great, especially now that you just download it and play on your, little handheld there. I think Wario World is absolutely a ton of fun. Doubles Dash is still a great time for sure. Eternal Darkness, I think, depends if that holds up for you. I still enjoyed playing it. But yeah, I think those are some of the big ones that never been ported anywhere else before. I'm going to look at my collection here, make sure I'm not forgetting anything while you read the next one.
Yeah, just real quick, if you like the N64 wrestling games, I always recommend Ultimate Muscle Legends versus New Generations. It's a very good one of those. If you didn't play a lot of games during that generation, some third-party ones like Def Jam Fight for New York was really good on GameCube. Gladius was really good on GameCube. Get some Billy Hatcher, Skies of Arcadia. There's a bunch of games on the GameCube that if you're like looking for like
Kirby's Air Ride is great.
Yes, that's a good one.
Oh, and like Rogue Leader, Star Wars Rogue Leader is just an all-timer.
I hit the swear button instead of the mute button.
Good job.
All right. Oop, lost my place. I think we're here back at the Uncharted Wolf, who says, when will you all do the top 100 Switch games? Soon.
Next week.
Yeah, I think, I think we kind of held it off because the Switch 2 announcement is so imminent here. So kind of talking about that right now instead. It's something I've been thinking about a lot, though, in my spare time, Jeff.
Yep, same. I was thinking about it a lot like last year, and then we were like, oh, we'll put it off. So I'm like, I kind of put it to the side, but now it's really definitely popped back. It'll be interesting to do. Ecto Kula says, what DS Castlevania games do you think has the best music? Order of Ecclesia has ridiculously catchy music, or tracks, excuse me. Yeah, I mean, God, I like them all.
Yeah, it's not like the GBA games where that's like this weird thing that Harmony of Dissonance just dropped the ball on, right? And that has that weird kind of bad soundtrack, which is so strange for Castlevania. In my mind, all three of the DS ones were good. I feel like the Portrait of Ruin one was great, especially. But yeah, I think they kind of had it figured out at that point.
From the Leo Cat 4, you'll have a great time at the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth Orchestra concert. I was there at the New York show last Saturday, and it was awesome.
I'm super excited for this concert.
What day is that again, Mike?
This Saturday, Jeff.
Okay. I might have a conflict because I forgot we were doing Emmy and Addie's birthday party on the weekend instead of during the week. That's what I thought. So we'll see. I'll let you know. But if I can't go, just like you can have my ticket.
I'll go.
And take someone else if you want.
I'll take your place.
But I'm going to try to go. I'm going to try to make it happen. All right. Let's see here. Cody Bishop, what are you going to do without the talk? And do you think a competitor will arise from the ashes? People are already going to that Red Note. Red Note, apparently, which is like an even more Chinese version of TikTok. So
that is the most communist app I've ever seen in my life. It's like everybody it's all you're not. It's all like they push you to good, like community building things. Like they don't let you criticize anything or like be negative about any stuff. So it is weird that people is moving toward that place.
Sounds
Americans,
no, not everybody.
Dr. Ryan says,
I just want to say I've never used TikTok for maybe more than like 5 minutes total, so I'll be fine.
Dr. Ryan says, even a Sony mark, can admit this Switch 2 reveal can't be worse than that PS5 reveal stream that was just Mark Cerny talking about nerd shit.
Oh, the PS5 Pro one, or was that for the actual PS5 also? I forget.
He did it for like the PS4 Pro, the PS5, and the PS5 Pro. Was the PS5 one was kind of like during the pandemic, and so it was weird. Is that how it went down? Because it launched in late 2020.
Remember that one? That was the one where people like, is he a CG person or is he real? Remember that was the thing about that one.
And there was the MST3K audience. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Man, when we get like the first AI presenters for these things, they are going to feel a lot like Mark Cerny doing this stuff.
Empanada Eater says, for real though, Dan's anime is bad and for pervert shtick is especially coming from someone who watched multiple seasons of My Hero Academia for his podcast with Bonk. He also really liked that show.
Single sweetest, most otaku anime ever created, My Hero Academia. And he's like, oh yeah. And he loves that shit. It's crazy. Like, that's the most anime you can ever anime in your life.
El Grug says, oh god.
Wait a second, Joe. You really think Dan is right that Metal Gear is more
I think Dan is right. I said I think I lean that way. Let's talk about it. So we had an argument on the Bombcast today about and it was like Dan saying that no normal person really knows what Persona is, but they do know what Metal Gear is. And Mike was like, oh no, at this point it's probably more Persona than Metal Gear. My thinking is that Metal Gear has been in the popular consciousness longer. So if you do include old people, and I get the urge to not include old people, but if you do include old people, I think it might average out that it leans towards Metal Gear still. If you just ask the normal person on the street, which of these things do you recognize? That's all.
I love that, by the way, how every time I'm called a boomer, that argument's used against me, you sleep. Then the one time I threw it out there.
It's funny when they use it against you.
Old people are people too, right? Yeah, so that was great. Thank you so much.
I mean, a lot of times it's like when you get called a boomer, it's just like, I like this old game. And in this case, it's like, they're really just saying, well, the old people don't count. I'm like, well, there are more millennials than there are any other cohort.
There are generally more. I guess what I meant is there are generally more people in their 20s actively playing video games than in their 30s and especially in their 40s, right? So, all the people who are playing video games right now, Persona is probably much more of a going concern, especially since there hasn't been a Metal Gear game in a while.
I agree with that, but that wasn't the conversation. It was average person on the street, and I think Metal Gear wins that.
Sorry, whoever's on gaming, I think it's impossible to know one and not the other one. You know what I mean? Like, if you know Persona, you know.
If you know Persona, you definitely know Metal Gear. Yes, if we're just talking about recognizing it.
If you know Metal Gear, you might not know Persona because, let's be honest, Persona is kind of niche. Well, no,
it's not that niche though. Is the thing. I don't know where this. I don't know where this is coming from. I don't think it's that niche. Where if we're just doing anecdotal, I have all sorts of normies come up to me and talk to me about Persona, to be honest, and say that's the thing that they're playing.
Yeah, I don't think you can count your friends as normies, to be honest.
To be clear, my real life friends are not like deep in the weeds of gaming stuff. They do not watch my content, right? Yeah. I'm not talking about like AJ and Chris. I was talking about
this Poop City Slamage. I'm a guy, not normal guy.
Right. To be clear, I want to call him a normie. He mostly just plays World of Warcraft.
But can we ask him if he knows about Persona?
Actually, he does like JRPGs, and he does not like Persona. It's too weeby for him.
Oh, incredible. All right. We're still looking for ways to solve this or to settle this, I guess, but we'll figure it out. L. Grug says, is Dan Horace Hogan with a bigger beard?
Who's Horace Hogan?
I don't know. Is this
well then
a typo? I mean, Hulk Hogan? In that case, yes, he's exactly like Hulk Hogan.
Who is Horace? I should Google him. He's like a wrestler?
A bad wrestler. Okay. Yes. Then yes, that's definitely Dan. 100%. All right. That's it for the Super Chats, Mike.
Looks like that.
I have one more thing to say about this Persona thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
I feel like every time I talk about a series that I like, people are like, oh, it's niche because it only sold 2 million copies. I'm like, that's kind of a lot. And now it's like, well, this Persona 5 alone has sold 7.2 million. I was like, it's still niche. I'm like, how? And the math's there.
You're like, when you pointed out that it sold better than Metal Gear Solid 5, I think that's a very good point. Very compelling. I was like, that really did actually throw me off. Where I'm like, okay, now, it is probably way closer than I first assumed in my head.
Now, if I was supposed to be the devil.
It began niche, you know what I mean? It began as a niche thing.
It began, definitely.
Metal Gear.
Persona 1 or 2, no one knew anything about that shit. Even though they had Hitler in Persona 2, no one cared.
Yeah, they should have.
But yes, it's grown in popularity without a doubt. What were you going to say, Mike? If you're going to play devil's advocate, I think you said.
Damn it, I thought I maybe got out of it. Now, if I was to play devil's advocate, I may point out that I think that they're counting like Persona 5 and Persona 5 Royale. So I think a lot of people, bought Persona 5 twice. So
Pokemon does the same thing, right? So
yeah, if Pokemon can pull that trick, so can Persona.
Yep, absolutely.
All right.
Like I said, done with the Super Chats. Back to you, Mike.
Why don't we take a little break here? Then we'll get to this topic. We'll try to predict the Switch 2 launch.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I will still call it kind of niche, Persona. I don't know.
Why? But why?
I don't know. It's the vibes,
because-
brother. It's the vibes. You know what I mean? It's the
it's
vibes.
not about vibes. It's about popularity.
It is about vibes sometimes. You know what I
It's
mean?
not. It's not about vibes. It's actually not. I think that's all it is. Like, well, because like it seems like a thing that should be niche. Well, okay, but it's not. But it's
All
not.
right. I don't think it's niche. It should have some niche vibes.
It has niche vibes. It's not enough real manly military guy stuff.
I mean, it's like a Metal Gear is like leans a lot on the action movie things.
Sure.
That it makes it more approachable for the normies.
Yeah, Persona 5 leans on all these
teenagers.
very mainstream anime tropes that everybody loves. You guys love
Yes.
yelling at me about how popular anime is now when I'm
We're
like,
not-
I don't
this is not
watch
an
it.
argument, motherfucker. We're not like, I'm not going against you like fully, you know what I mean? But it's just, I mean, you have to understand the vibes, and you don't get.
I
No.
just think it's gonna be close, and it's
Might
just,
be close.
I think for me it's like, oh yeah, Metal Gear Solid was just like one tier down and barely from like Final Fantasy VII for being like the biggest thing in the world that time on PlayStation, and
sure.
I think that has had a long tail. Like people still
but-
keep it like. I will be in a bank. Okay, I haven't been in a bank forever, but I'll be in a place and I will hear the Metal Gear Solid ringtone thing, and that just pops off all over the place. And I guess maybe I wouldn't notice if something Persona was happening. So that's not a fair comparison. But that's
Wait till I tell you about Persona 5 sales compared to Final Fantasy 16, though.
Yeah.
Right?
We should ask the Roblox kids what they think about that. You know, like maybe
right.
the Roblox kids should be our like measurement.
I don't.
That's
I
enough
don't,
of that.
I don't need to be that sad.
We can get back to it.
Cool.
All right, let's.
All right, Jeff, we're back. Let's try to figure out what are we expecting from this Switch 2 launch. We're going to get some help from the community a little bit here. But first, if it was just us two talking, I mean, the big obvious one is the Mario 3D game. Is there any chance there isn't the new Mario 3D game for the launch?
I mean, there's a chance they get like a little bit weird with it. Like, there was the rumors that it could be a Donkey Kong game instead. At this point, I doubt that, but there's a chance that it's not a new Mario game, but it's going to be a new game from that team leading the charge, in my opinion. It's been enough time since Bowser's Fury for that to be the case. Yeah, what were you going to say?
This isn't the topic. That's right. It was changed from my understanding. Christian, who couldn't stop piping up 10 minutes ago, and now chat like, I'm not going to correct Mike.
Hell yeah, this is a good show. 2
seconds
Pretty
ago,
good for our first podcast, I gotta
every
say.
single super chat, there was a comment from you, and now you won't come in and save me.
Uh,
I wasn't expecting you reading the chat fast enough for you to go to the topic and then realizing the topic that you were wrong. I fucked up there. I should have said.
Yeah.
What does
Well,
the
look,
Switch
it's
2 need
close
to be
enough.
to be a success is what we're
What
actually
does
doing.
the Switch 2 need to be a success? I think it needs a strong launch. What do you think will be in that launch, Jeff?
Yeah, I think a new 3D Mario makes a lot of sense. Okay, I think we get this video, and I do think Mario will be on that screen one way or the other in a real video game that will be a launch video game. Now, in my mind, it's probably a 3D Mario platformer. And then if it's not, I think it's Mario Kart 9 or 10, I guess is what they're going to call it, whatever. But Mario will be a heavily focused Nintendo. I mean, obviously Nintendo's had Mario as a launch game for forever, but Nintendo seems more like in their bag with Mario than ever after the movie, where they're like, yeah, this is how we sell Nintendo shit. It's through Mario. And then everything else sort of builds on that. Pokemon, Animal Crossing, all this other stuff, Zelda. And if they have had that team knowing that Switch 2 and at one point probably the Switch Pro was coming and we want to have something good for that system, working on something for all those years, it's probably going to be ready to go. And I think that would go very far to have something that looks like a brand new next gen Mario at this point, which, how much can it look that way? But whatever, if it's big and exciting, that will go a long way with that audience that is still very eager for more Mario stuff after the movie.
Do you think it's like the 3D Mario game and Mario Kart at launch?
I think that's a possibility. Maybe they stagger these things a little bit. Because if this thing launches in April, there is every reason to have, the 3D Mario now, and then Mario Kart 9 can launch in the summer or something like that. That's kind of how they did it last time. So I think that they would be willing to follow that path again. Now, maybe that is what gets into this conversation about what will make the Switch 2 a success. I don't know if like exactly following the template of the Switch 1 is the answer, because it needs to, like, a bunch of people millions of people have just recently bought a Switch within like the last 2 to 3 years. And for them, that's a recent amount of time to spend, $200 to $350. And now the company's asking me to spend another $300 to $450 on a new piece of hardware. And it's going to be difficult to convince those people to jump on pretty quickly. Now, and Nintendo knows that, and they will probably be like, we recognize that, we will get them later. In the meantime, there are millions of people who have had the Switch 1 for years and years and years and have been craving an upgrade and kind of buy every piece of shit that we put out, Jeff Grubb, and they'll be ready to buy whatever we put out. And we can rely on them, but that's not what made the Switch such a success. I was not the one that was doing that. It was everyone else in my life getting a Switch at some point. So Nintendo needs to find ways to make the thing feel fresh and new and kind of create an urgency to upgrade. And I don't see necessarily a very easy way for them to do that beyond having great games.
What if Metroid Prime 4 looks really good, and instead of having a Switch 1 version, it is only on the Switch 2, like I said all along?
Starting to feel more and more likely all the time. Yeah.
Did you see Amazon canceling those
I did
pre-orders?
See that, yeah, and I talked about that, yeah.
That might be for no reason. It might be because the price is changing from $60 to $70. Maybe it's because that's just a Switch 2 game now.
Maybe it's because it's just a Switch 2 game. Yeah. I think just having a big launch with like 2 or 3 games that are must-haves, that'll go a long way towards getting them off to a strong start. And I think Nintendo's at a point now where they are very competent at supporting one system instead of the 2 systems they used to have in a strong way. And so, yeah, I feel, and we just came off a pretty weak year for Nintendo. I think the reason it's weak is because this year is going to be awesome for the Switch 2.
Yeah, they're like, it's not going to be like some of these other weird transitions. There's going to be no attempt at still marketing games as Switch 1 only games, even if they are technically Switch 1 games. Kind of like how we still get PlayStation 4 games now, with the expectation, though, that PlayStation 5 users are going to just buy these games and just going to run normally.
Right.
It'll be like that. Everything will be positioned as kind of a Switch 2 game, and it'll say playable in Switch 1, right?
Absolutely, for sure. And I think that's been part of the plan as well, which is why they're not afraid to have something like a Donkey Kong, like you said, launch the week that they're announcing the Switch 2. Just get that for your Switch 2 if that's what you want. Yeah, but I still, it's like, that is good for us, people who are in the ecosystem, and we like that. Does that lend itself towards creating this sense of, hey, I have to upgrade for normal people? I don't know. But, for Nintendo, they have advantages when it comes to that, namely Pokemon. Once a year or 2 from now, when Pokemon fully moves on to this new hardware, that'll be an inflection point for getting people excited to get new hardware. And at that point, they might even have an OLED if they don't launch with an OLED, which seems like a possibility as well. And so, yeah, there'll be more reasons to buy the hardware again for us and more reasons for people to get in. So for the Switch 2 to have success, it's going to mostly come down to the games themselves, which I guess is, for Nintendo, it's maybe how you want it to be, because you can rely on your developers to put out the best stuff possible. And as long as they are able to have something that is as exciting as Breath of the Wild is, what was, I think they might be able to deliver that. But that, there's no guarantees for that.
I do think a big part of the Switch's initial success was that whole first year, right? Where you launched with Zelda, then you had like Splatoon 2 as the big summer game, and that was a big hit. And then you had Mario for the holidays, another giant hit. You think it's going to be a problem that they're not going to, have that Zelda game this time around? That there may not be another game on that Mario level. And to be clear, it was such a weird, incredible alignment of things that they were able to have the new big Mario and the new big Zelda in one year. Maybe it's unrealistic to expect that again, but is there some way they can kind of manufacture it?
I think there is a realistic way that they can get similar sort of excitement, but in the a slightly different direction. And when you look at how long it's been since this game came out, a sequel to Animal Crossing in the first year of the Switch 2 could go really hard for them.
They haven't been making DLC, right?
They have not. And that game came out several years ago, and it's not exactly like rocket science making a new Animal Crossing. And they knew that they have the Switch 2 coming. Again, they've known this is happening. They knew what that did for the first system. I think that if they could have a big, exciting Animal Crossing follow-up for the Switch 2 in the first 9 to 12 months, that would be something that would get a massive audience of people who don't even care about Zelda excited. So, Animal Crossing did sell more than Breath of the Wild. So, yeah, I think that is probably what they're going to rely on more so than trying to get something going on with Zelda. Although a Breath of the Wild sort of upgrade seems inevitable as well.
Yeah, that or Tears Kingdom. And hey, look, again, Wind Waker and Twilight Princess, right? At some point, those games are coming to Switch. So,
yep, absolutely.
All right, let's see what our audience, our podcast producers, has to say about this. What does the Switch 2 need to be a success? Darachi says first-party Nintendo games. Yep, yeah, that's a. I mean, we talk about how neat it's going to be to have more third-party games on there, but it's always going to be first-party. That really matters for the success of a Nintendo console.
For sure.
Dom Frez says consistent release schedule with a solid launch window and the first holiday lineup. That's what we were just talking about, right? It's kind of fun to think about that launch lineup right now, but we do need more. Yeah, I said Splatoon 2. We got Splatoon 3 not that long ago, but long-ish enough where that game is kind of done now, right? Like they're not doing any more content for it. I forget, but I don't know. Too soon for Splatoon 4? You think?
It's probably a little bit too soon for Splatoon 4, but they won't wait long for that, right? Because that's just too successful for them, especially in Japan. So that dominance is not something that they are going to let sit on the shelf for very long.
I wonder if you asked like the big Splatoon fans, do you think they like Splatoon 2 or 3 more? Which one do you think hit better?
I don't know. Probably Splatoon 2, but I think they're like, nah, these are pretty similar. So it's hard to answer that question.
Maybe it's just a matter of like, we just play the one that's out now because that's just kind of how it works. I don't know. Velocity Prime says, honestly, the most important thing is compelling exclusive software. No droughts. Yeah, I mean, I think we're all kind of hoping that the reason why we had a slow-ish year this last year and like right now is because things are being sort of stockpiled for the Switch too, right?
Yeah, I mean, clearly that's what's happening. And I think that'll probably work. Again, Nintendo has even said themselves, we are looking at ways to get more stuff out more frequently. That includes working with more external partners and things like that. And they made, some key acquisitions here or there. They understand the need to keep support for the Switch going and primarily running through them and not just third party.
Jamie H1224 says, keep catering to families. New Mario Party and indies like Snipper Clips. Nintendo is the only company where you can look at 3 of their consoles sitting at your desk and think, yeah, this house could do with another.
Yep. Yeah, that's absolutely right. I do think that all the time. Like, I should get another one. Although I have digital games, so I still don't know how I would make that work with like 3 of them floating around actively.
Part of me is like, we just got a new Mario Party. But, we got a new Super Mario Party. They could do another Mario Party Superstars, and I would kind of be a sucker for it because I like seeing those old boards come back.
Yeah, we won't be long before we get a Mario Party directly for the Switch too. That will be probably almost next holiday, maybe. We'll see.
Yeah, Courageous Big Basketball says no tariffs. Jeff, myself as a bit of a politics normie, I haven't really heard as much about the tariffs lately. Is that still as much of a going concern as it used to be?
He's on to buying Greenland instead, but he's not been inaugurated yet. He loves tariffs. Again, he loves them because
he loves the shit of tariffs.
Because what it does is it forces people to come to him to beg him to give them exemptions, and he loves to have Bezos and all these people come and kneel before him. There's one of his tweets, like during the first administration, was Elon Musk coming to him and begging him for something, and he loves that shit. So he will wield tariffs because it is the easiest way to get that to happen. Whether or not that's going to affect video game consoles and video game software and the parts that go into video game machines that are made in Mexico, discs and cartridges and cards being made in Mexico, all that stuff could easily happen. And if it does, it will hurt the profit margins for all these things. And it's definitely something Nintendo's worried about.
Or we might get lucky and he just gets distracted with something stupid and forgets about it. We don't know, really.
Oh, he's talking about an external revenue service now to collect tariffs. That's very funny because people would be like,
he's so stupid.
That's very funny.
Oh my God.
Well, I saw a meme today. It was like some conservative chat posting like, look, this is the Trump train. It's going to bring MAGA to major cities with high-speed rail. And like this guy retweeted it and was like, oh no, don't do that. I, a scary leftist, would hate that so much. Grr.
Yeah, exactly. It's like we got to have to trick them.
Yeah.
You got to fool them on that.
Just real quick, people are like, oh man, they're dumping on Trump. Why do people always do that? It's because you were stupid for voting for him. I'm sorry. You were. No apologies. Go fuck yourself.
RT picks is not to be too, or not to not be too expensive.
Yep.
There it is.
I'm
expecting 400. What are you expecting?
I think 400. I think 400 and then an OLED version for 450 in a year or so sounds about right at this point. Again, tariffs could throw some wrenches in the works there. That could be troublesome for them. But based on what we've heard about the hardware in this thing, they should be making a lot of money at 400, enough to cover even a 25% tariff likely, which hopefully they wouldn't have to pay.
Screaming Madden says, get Madden as a yearly franchise on Nintendo platform again. And then Bopicon says, get college football as a yearly franchise on Nintendo platform again. You seemed skeptical about this earlier in the show, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think EA's whole thing is we would love to put these games out on Switch, but we need you assholes to get into the microtransactions. That's actually what we care about. Apex Legends, my understanding, based on talking to people, is that didn't really make any money on Switch. And I think they're like, that's the kind of person that is on Switch. Yeah, they like to buy games and play games, and they play a lot of games, and they buy a lot of games, but they don't get into the live service side outside of like the Fortnites and stuff. So is the kind of person that owns a Switch going to be the kind of person that gets into Madden Ultimate Team? I just don't see it, and I think EA is skeptical of that as well.
It's weird because like the NBA 2K games are still on Switch. In fact, I got my one nephew it for Christmas. He wanted it, and me, I'm like, "Oh, you want the Switch version?" I'm like, "Yeah, he's a kid. He doesn't care." So that seems to work for some reason. I wanted to at least try it again, right? With Madden.
I think for NBA and especially FIFA, because FIFA does come to Switch every year from EA, is those are global. And the Switch is globally available and relatively affordable, and it's an easy way for a lot of people in a lot of markets to get access to that stuff. NBA these days, especially, very global league. So I think that helps. I think for something like hockey and American football, these things are a little bit less likely. I just don't, and even in the case of FIFA, it is the old version of that game, just getting a roster update every year. I think EA is going to continue putting in the minimal effort on the Switch where possible.
Bailey Moon says, an exciting Mario Kart for grandma and enough power that games, while degraded, still come to the platform, like Elden Ring, Baldur's Gate 3, GTA 6. GTA 6 is maybe asking for a lot, but Elden Ring and Baldur's Gate 3, like, those seem like they would do pretty well on the Switch, too.
Yeah, and I wonder what GTA Online is going to look like in GTA 6, where it's like, is that going to be a separate thing? Maybe that is runs a little bit lighter so that any system can run it the way a lot of online games are these days. And maybe that could still be a Switch 2 thing. But you're right. Elden Ring, I almost expect Elden Ring at launch.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Eden says video games always be clothing. Corgi has the cute gif of Tears of the Kingdom, Link and Zelda, which I'm interpreting as we have to make Zelda's hair even shorter and cuter and Link's hair even longer and more sexy,
yes,
like Fabio style. We've got to keep going in that direction.
That sounds right to me.
Nolan says Mario Hockey. That would be fun.
I would like love that. I don't think they'll ever really do a standalone Mario Hockey game because it's just too country. Well, I mean, yeah, a lot of Europe cares about that, but yeah, I just think it's going to be a hard sell inside Nintendo when they're like, we could just do another soccer one and everyone plays that.
So Mac has a gif of people milking cows on the Switch 1. Was this everybody, or this is the first 1-2 Switch, right?
Yes, this is 1-2 Switch, yes.
I can't believe that game got a sequel.
A sequel that was like so bad, they were internally debating, like, what do we do with this thing?
Like, how did this happen? Astro Wolf says, focus on the hardware fans in the first year. We saw what happened with the Wii U. Casuals are fickle, so you need to get the people actually buying more than 2 games excited about this console. Yeah, I mean, you think of like that first year of the Switch, at least in terms of like, of course, Mario and Zelda is always going to appeal to a large audience, but they didn't have like the Animal Crossing or, like the Wii Sports equivalent really in that first year. And it didn't really matter. Like, they tried with stuff like 1-2 Switch and nobody really cared about that.
Yeah, I think I think Nintendo knows that Animal Crossing and Mario Kart go a long way. And they will will rely on those kinds of games in these first couple of years while they sort of feel things out. I wouldn't be surprised at like a new Ring Fit Adventure in the first couple of years as well. Maybe not launch year, but yeah, that'll be the kind of casual stuff they end up doing.
Dr. Ryan says, achievements, just do this one fucking thing for me, please, Nintendo. I feel like we have to keep achievements away just to protect Dr. Ryan.
Yeah, right? Dr. Ryan, they're trying to help you out, man. They know you're sick. They want to save you, bud.
Do you think, though, this is it? Are we finally getting this? Or you think it's just never going to happen?
I mean, I feel like at this point, like, why do it at this point? If you haven't done it by now, what does it? And it clearly is
they
not.
could have just added it to the Switch whenever, and
Right.
they never did.
And it has not hurt them. I almost respect it because I get the sense they're like, no, that's not how you make people excited to play video games. You want them to make the game good, and then they'll want to come up with their own achievements. And I tend to agree with that personally, but I think Nintendo has like sort of a stance against it, and that's why they haven't done it so far.
Miracle says, wow, it doesn't need this. More of a, wouldn't it be funny? Oh, I see. Steam OS.
Dual boot into Steam OS. I like that. That'd be fun.
That'd be funny. Input name here says Nintendo Music app on the console. And I never thought about it, but like, why not? Why not just let me boot that up on my actual Switch too?
What about apps in general? Like, what about like more support for the entertainment stuff? Because there was a YouTube app on there.
to watch Netflix.
Yeah, but like, what if there's like a whole entertainment? Like, on the PS5, there's games, and then there's one tab over like TV and movies, and it's all those apps over there. Do you think they might do that with Switch too?
I mean, maybe it doesn't need it.
Doesn't need it.
I mean, it's like it could be something that you could put in the sizzle reel, though, right?
Yeah, at this point, it's like the kinds of people buying Switch 2 definitely just use their TVs and use the apps built into their TVs and getting them. Like, I use those mostly, even though I have it is way better on the PlayStation 5 to use a lot of, even like YouTube TVs, way better on PlayStation 5. And yet it's just easy to hit the button on my remote. So I just do that.
Mr. Bohr says if they make a Mario Kart, Animal Crossing, Pokemon, Smash Brothers, they will make money. I guess that's the other thing we haven't talked about is Pokemon. There will be some kind of Pokemon game this year, probably Pokemon Legend ZA, right? Whatever that is.
Yep.
We still don't really know a whole lot about that. And that'll probably get talked about as some kind of Pokemon Direct in the future.
Right. That Pokemon Direct is coming up here pretty soon on Pokemon Day, which is in February usually. I'm like, I talked to Sean about this on Game S Mornings where some leaks happened that said, hey, Pokemon Day is happening. It's like, well, that happens every year. And they will do a Pokemon Direct during that. I did hear that everything in that Pokemon Direct will be positioned as these games are Switch 1 games, and they will work on Switch 2, but there will not be anything that is like obviously made for Switch 2, which is normal for the Pokemon company.
Yeah. I'd like to hope that of all the games that should get a performance boost on the Switch 2, if you want, they just don't even like gesture at that for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet.
Yep.
But it could happen. Tommy Pencil says, Leisure Suit Larry, wet dreams, try twice. Do I just have to play this game? Just have to get it out of our system.
Is it on? Is it like on the ban list on Twitch? I don't think it is. So yeah, you should play it.
I should be. Also, I might ban this shit. It's just that title is too.
Wow, it's too much for Christian.
Censoring. Somebody get Mark Zuckerberg in there.
Yes.
Squirrel Girl #1 fan says Snipper Clips 2. Oh, man, these Snipper Clips freaks are really out in force today.
I should make you play Snipper Clips with me next time we're in person.
I gotta be honest. I really don't understand what kind of game it is. I don't know what you do with it.
It's a 2-player puzzle game where you have to like just rotate the Joy-Con to like rotate the clip. Oh, you know what? I don't remember. It's been 7 years.
That doesn't sound like a game.
I don't remember.
Sounds like a shore.
Some of those things were correct, but I don't know what you do after that.
Yeah. Matt says, come out. Deep Boing says, a trackball. Don't think we're getting a trackball, sadly.
Oh, man. What if we get a track? Oh, that would be so cool. I love trackballs. Trackball enthusiast Christian here. Give me a trackball every day. Let's go.
Yes, you like trackballs.
Trackballs fucking good.
Your inside thoughts are coming out again, Christian.
Let me tell you about trackballs.
Beef Hammer said Pikmin 5. Pikmin, I bet we'll get a new Pikmin. We get a new one every console, it seems like. Probably more of a mid-gen to like mid-late gen kind of thing.
Yeah, I can't remember which team does that, but I'm sure they're like rotating through some of their other stuff before they go back to Pikmin.
Mex says Donkey Kong Country. Now, we really did never get a new Donkey Kong game on the Switch, and we know that there were some false starts there, partnering with Activision, and there was that rumor of like maybe a 3D one. But yeah, we never did get something with Donkey Kong. We got 2 remasters, or 3, count Mario versus Donkey Kong. But we got like the obligatory new Yoshi game. We got a bunch of Kirby games. No Donkey Kong.
Yeah, they will want to do something new with Donkey Kong here eventually, because they do have a movie and they do have a ride at Super Nintendo Land, so Super Nintendo World, excuse me. So yeah, that'll happen eventually.
Joyzy says 6 face buttons. I tell you what, I was
hell
playing.
yeah! Plus the trackball. Let's go.
I was playing Marvel Fighting Collection on my Switch, and there was a part I did literally think, boy, 6 face buttons would be great.
Yeah,
right?
I'm kind of like, I think I'm maybe wonder why don't we get 6 face buttons? Like, why is that so scary to these companies? Is it like they're like too intimidating?
I think it's too much.
Yeah,
I think it's too much for normies, I guess. Yeah, I mean, we were there, we had it, Sega did it, and then the Saturn had it too, and it was beautiful.
The N64 technically had it. Yeah,
right.
So I just kind of I wish we had.
You can play fighting games.
And why don't we get some of these Chinese handhelds with 6 face buttons? Like, come on, turn sicko mode. Come on, let's go.
That's right. The Xbox technically had it with the black and white button.
Yeah,
they just were kind of weird about it.
Yeah.
Next up is from Big Tony. He says Zelda blowout. I'm not expecting a Zelda blowout.
You did say the vitality sensor from Doom Crossing?
Oh, I skipped it. My mistake. Doom Crossing vitality sensor. I just looked at that picture and thought about it so much I assumed I talked about it. Look at those hands. Those are smooth hands.
Yeah, those are like hand model hands, but they almost
it's like that guy from Zoolander.
Yeah, they've been photoshopped to hell though. Those aren't real. I can't do anything with this.
Hands before the accident.
Yeah. Slaves, Derek. Evo Janice says sell 150 million units. What's the most Switch 2 could sell and still be considered a failure? That's interesting because like the 3DS sold quite a bit less than the DS and was still a success, right?
Right.
If you sell 70 million Switch 2s, is that good enough?
I think it's like 70 to 80 million. If you're kind of in that range, you may be more towards 80 million. You're probably fine. It's like I think Nintendo likes having these big home runs, and then sometimes they do have like they hit a single instead. Whereas like Sony always just hits a triple, and maybe Nintendo's like maybe we should be like that, but that's just not in their DNA. So yeah, I don't know. I wonder if Nintendo would be disappointed with 75 to 80 million. They got to know it's going to be harder. They know their history. So I don't think they're expecting 115 million again.
We got a few more of these, Jeff. Why don't we take a quick break, then we'll come back, get through the rest of these.
Sounds good. And if anyone's got any more super chats, send them in now. We'll get to them before the end of the show.
Yep.
Track balls.
As I'm seeing love coming in for Christian and his track ball.
Oh my God.
All right, I am going to go bathroom.
All right.
Imagine the Metroid Prime with a trackball. You're running around with the trackball, and then when you turn into a ball, you go 2D and you fling the trackball to make it spin. Fuck yeah!
I have a trackball in this room with me right now. It's on that Simpsons arcade machine for the bowling mini game, or the bowling arcade game, I guess, not the mini game. I should like look and see if I can get that all set up and play some like Golden Tee. Yeah,
that's right, Peekaboo. 1-to-1 morph bowling. Fucking go.
I should. I tonight before I go to bed, I'm going to do that thing that Dan mentioned about installing a DS emulator, so I could do because it was a DS or maybe it was GBA to do the WarioWare Twisted. That's a GBA game because I think that will just be my going potty game from now on. I want something exactly like that, and that game, if that works on an emulator on phone, that's what I want to be playing.
The other day, I went to the party, and I didn't have my phone on me because it was dead, no battery. And I reverted back to the old days where you grab the deodorant, and you start reading the back of it.
Oh, sure, yes. Yeah, just like reading random things in your room, yeah.
Yeah, I remember these days. Before the phones.
Yeah, I had like my kid did one of those school fundraiser things where it's like buy some random bullshit and then they'll get a prize. And of course they want the prizes. And I'm like, I can get this stuff on Amazon for like $25. Can we just do that? But it's like, no, they want to win it through the prize.
No, not the same.
Right.
Yeah.
So I found myself with a subscription to Astronomy magazine, and I like astronomy.
Hell yeah.
I got 12 issues of that. I don't think I read a single word in those magazines. I think they all just went in my bathroom and sat there, and I don't think I read a single page of that entire thing. So
one day those magazines are gonna save your life.
Yeah, probably when I need to know what to do about an asteroid. You're right. Yeah, it's gonna be there, or I will burn them in a fire once the world comes to a collapse. That's probably
I'm old enough to remember when the back of the deodorant it said like we're killing the ozone layer, and everybody was like, "Hell, fucking yeah, that's metal."
We've taken enough of the ozone. Its day has come.
And then one day to the other, the back said, "We're saving the ozone layer." I was like, "Okay, I guess we're cool with the ozone layer."
The ozone layer has paid enough for its crimes, and we've come back around. Now we're going to protect the ozone layer.
Exactly.
I'm back.
Right.
Let's do it.
Oh, look, it's Mike Minotti.
Oh.
Yep.
You like the ozone layer?
Yeah,
Answer the
there's
question,
an episode
bitch.
of Rocco.
Yeah, you took a long time to answer that question, motherfucker. You better be ice.
Make sure it wasn't a trick question. All right. Let's do this.
Something like ozone layer this not or some shit like that. All right, let's go.
All right, Jeff, we're back. We got some more answers to our question. What does the Switch 2 need to be a success? Ezipsis says a Captain Rainbow remake. I forget. Have you ever played Captain Rainbow?
I have played Captain Rainbow. I got it working on Dolphin with mouse and keyboard, which is maybe the way to play that game. I think I first started playing it when I first started working at Giant Bomb, and my thing was like, oh, we're going to play this on Giant Bomb, and I still have not done that to this day.
Yeah.
So every time it comes up, I'm like, I should make that happen. In the meantime, everyone tune into Bowser's Hurry on Friday. Me, Mike, Dan, I think Sean maybe are going to be racing in Bowser's Furies, and we're going to be raising money for charity as well.
Zool34 says, just give me 60 FPS Breath of the Wild, okay? That has to be like, if there's only one game that's getting that kind of boost at launch, it's got to be Breath of the Wild, right?
Yep, absolutely. That game continues to sell very well for them, even after Tears of the Kingdom came out. I think they recognize it as being very important, and they want to capitalize on that.
I'll tell you, after watching that Tears of the Kingdom run at GameStop, I am kind of in the mood to play one of those again.
And then after you got in the mood for that, and you mentioned watching that trailer with the song, I have done that 25 times.
Yes,
I cannot stop listening to it. I go back and forth between that and the Breath of the Wild trailer, but I am very much in the mood for that saxophone right now. So, hell yeah.
I tried sending you just like in a chat somewhere, like a tutorial for that saxophone part, so you can learn it for me.
I'll have to go to a pawn shop and get a saxophone again. See if I can make it happen.
Oh, it's so freaking good. Yeah, guys, I hope like in February, whatever game it is, like Mario, whatever, I hope we just get another all-time banger soundtrack, right? It's gonna be hard to top Jump Up Superstar, but give me something, baby.
Yep, definitely.
Weezman says, bring it back. It's the Wii Shop channel. The Switch eShop always kind of ran slow and was bad. Seeing some improvements there.
It's gotten worse too. That's the thing. It was fine. It was much better early on, but now there are 4,000 games launching a day on that thing, and it's just garbage now.
Willow Davis says Fortnite and Roblox and Discord. Ooh, Discord. Ooh. I'd like that.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of don't see any reason why they wouldn't do it at this point. I other than like maybe if they feel like they can't control it or something like that. But God, it's like everyone else is using it. You don't seem to care about your player friends like list sort of situation. So why not just let Discord handle that?
Adam GC says new wave race. Sure feels like it's maybe time, Jeff, to finally bring that one back, right? But maybe F-Zero has to happen first. But are they really going to do another racing game on top of the seemingly more inevitable Mario Kart in the launch window?
Yeah, I definitely don't have high hopes for Wave Race. I think like a 1080 might even happen before that, but I don't know.
Matt Lawrence says Wii channels, but Switch channels. In general, I do hope that we get a refreshed UI. I was pretty critical when the Xbox Series X and S UI was just the Xbox One UI. You know, people are like, well, it works. I'm like, sure, but, like with that and just having basically the same controller, it's like, come on, I want this to feel different and unique somehow. And the Switch 2 is already going to have a little bit of that problem with the controller. Like, that experience is going to feel different. So I hope it at least looks different, right? Like, maybe we don't do the all-white thing this time. I don't know if you have to add themes necessarily, but even just that base user experience, I want it to have a different vibe and aesthetic.
Yeah, my guess here is it's going to be similar to what happened with PlayStation, which is underneath, it's just the PS4 interface again, but it's got a new coat of paint. Here it'll be the Switch interface again with a new coat of paint. I think it will present different.
One up Mango says the return of a beloved franchise like Wii Music.
Yeah, that's what they need. Miyamoto needs it now more than ever.
JD, do you think he was embarrassed about that? Because that was back when he was like still a hit machine, and he kind of put he was pretty forward facing on that one, and then it was what it was. Do you think that phased him at all?
Probably a little bit. You know, it's got to phase anybody. I think it would even phase Miyamoto.
Yeah. JD Camp says Waluigi and Elden Ring. But Dark Souls 1 was on the Switch. Did that have like special Nintendo costumes or something like that?
I don't know if that did. Skyrim definitely had the Zelda stuff, right? Like the Zelda costumes. So listen, this is possible here. This could happen.
That'd be fun. Lenny Cool Dick Denver says it needs a Mario platform with a title that makes Dan think it isn't mainline, and Jeff will let him get away with it. So this is all just fault. Yeah, look, we know that he's making a jab at Mario Wonder not being mainline again. Like, what are we gonna do with that psychopath? What are we gonna do?
Like, he himself was like, I was shopping at the store and I was wondering, why do I not think Mario Wonder is mainline? What like he was having this conflict within himself, and he like settled on like, I don't get why I do this. And then the next day he was doing it again. If he can't like learn from his own internal monologue, what chance do we have?
We got nothing. And like with him, it's just this like whole like in his mind, the mainline can't go from 2D to 3D, but even then, some of the 3D games also don't count. It's psychotic, and he's like, wrong all over the place.
Us trying to fix him at this point is only us embarrassing ourselves. Like, you got like Sean was doing that when we were at the Game of the Year stuff. He's like, no, I'm the one who could fix him. Like, Sean, we've all been there. We've all been there.
Yeah. I remember. Oh God, I remember early on. I was like, no, I bet if I have very reasonable and calm like dialogues with Dan, I can talk him into realizing that at very least, Super Mario 3D World is a mainline Mario game. I mean, that's crazy. Nope. Absolutely not. This is the guy too who gets to decide what normal people think. Apparently. Lenny Cool Dick Denver says, this is what I just read. Weak Demon says, Wavebird Joy-Cons or an eShop that doesn't suck ass. Aren't all Wavebird or Joy-Cons kind of Wavebirds? Actually? Yeah, right? Yeah. Gigi64 says eShop music. That'd be nice.
I do hope that in general, the UI, the UX feels more lively in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Sludge Reinhold says they could only ever put out a new Pokemon game and still probably sell 30 million consoles.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, it is an interesting thing. Just like how badly do they have to mess up a bunch of small things or a few big things for it to just not work out, right?
Right. Yeah. When we talk about they've had missteps, those missteps have only ever been major when it was the home consoles that did not have Pokemon games.
Now Fudsack says the Twilight Princess and Wind Waker HD collections. This fake box art always looks pretty nice, I have to say.
Yeah, they should just do this.
Yeah, they should do that. It'd be great. I'd like that. That'd be good stuff. Christian has, I believe this is another 1-2 switch thing of a man pretending to eat a sub.
Yep.
Incredible. I like how he's even wearing Subway colors as he's doing this. Jedi Moss Force says, I think we'll see a new IP from Monolith Soft at the launch window. But we have Xenoblade Chronicles X is one of like the last Switch games, right?
And the last thing we heard from Monolith is that they were spending some time upgrading their tech. So I bet we're a little bit off from them having something ready to go for the Switch 2.
I do kind of hope it is something new. Like, you know, maybe I'm not as high on Xenoblade as some people, but I wonder if even the Xenoblade freaks are kind of ready to move on a bit instead of just getting Xenoblade Chronicles 4
I bet you're right that
Xenoblade.
The next thing from them probably will be something new, and then that tech will find its way into the next Zelda game.
Then Zayark says Street Pass 2, me, Plaza. Gosh, yeah, like you think any of these older features like Street Pass or the Miiverse come back?
Probably not exactly, but I hope if we get something new, I hope it's along these lines. Everyone loves Street Pass. Street Pass is so good. It's such a good idea. I hope they have something that can have that kind of juice.
All right, that's that. I don't think we need to take another break quite yet, Jeff, but you know, talking about games we've been playing, I did finish Earthbound, right?
Oh, hey. All right. Good job.
Yeah. So I beat Earthbound. It's weird taking like satisfaction. Like I beat a game. Like, you know, that's not a real accomplishment, but there's something satisfying about getting this one that's been in my pile of shame for so many reasons, for being a JRPG guy, for being a Nintendo guy, being a Super Nintendo guy. So getting all of that done feels really nice finally, right?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, I know. I think that's awesome.
Yeah. By the way, I think I might have missed one from Lightbright32. Said cool noises throughout the menus is what they think will make. My bad. Sorry, Lightbright.
Yep.
So, and, last week when I was talking about, I was like, yeah, I'm really enjoying it. Maybe I'm not necessarily like, oh, this is one of the great SNES games, but I'm really enjoying it. Now that I beat it, yeah, it is kind of one of the great SNES games.
That's
actually
awesome. I'd love to hear that. That's great.
Yeah, especially kind of like that last third of the game is all really good stuff. It continues to get weird in delightful ways, and it still has like this emotional core that works. There is a sincerity to the weirdness, right? Like it's not, it's not irreverent to the point where everything's a goof and nothing matters. There's still weight to things in the game. That whole tone works really well. I think the combat system towards the end, when everybody has all of their powers, and you are using a lot of abilities, it's not just one of those keep pressing X, just use the attack button over and over again kind of JRPGs. So I do appreciate that a lot. But yeah, man, Earthbound, who knew? Really good stuff. Great music in that game too.
Yep. This is still one that hearing you come out of this being so positive, it's like, yep, I'm gonna have to play this. At least give it a try. I have my gaps when it comes to JRPGs, but Earthbound just feels like a Nintendo game to me, so I want to like really give it a shot.
Yeah, I will say it is like surprising how much Dragon Quest adjacent it is, like more so than Final Fantasy. And there's some of the abrasive stuff there. Even I, who usually go with everything, am annoyed by the item management in like Dragon Quest and in this game, where each character has their own inventory and it's kind of limited. And even like the items that you equip take up slots. There's in key items take up slots. So a lot of the game, you kind of call your sister and she'll send a delivery person to you. And it's like a neat, quirky way of handling that mechanic. But you call this person a lot, just like dump stuff to him because you're trying to sell stuff to just constantly keep that inventory in check, because it's a bad feeling when you're in a dungeon. You can't pick up an item because your inventory is full. Right. You can't even get rid of stuff. So, that's maybe not my favorite thing in the world, but that's about it in terms of the stuff that really was abrasive to me.
Right. For me, it's been a lot of like, hey, can I get that Switch? And the kids just kind of taking it right back. They've been now they're back into Tears of the Kingdom again. There was that like month where they were playing it nonstop. They've been Emmy got way into Mii's the other day and was making Mii's, and she's been playing that in Tomodachi Life, and that was really cool to see. She's got several like different character arcs happening in that game. But in the last like couple of days, can't remember what happened. I think I might have, you know what? I played the Tears of the Kingdom trailer music in the van on the way to school earlier this week.
It works.
And Emmy's like, this is Zelda music, right? I'm like, yeah. She's like, I want to play Tears of the Kingdom again. Make sure that's set up for me. I'm like, well, I'm going to be using the Switch. She's like, yeah, make sure that's set up for me. So she got home and immediately started playing that again.
I forget. Why did you never just get the kids their own Switch?
Well, there's two Switches. There's the Switch and there's the Switch Lite. But because I have digital games, if I introduce the third Switch, it's not going to solve these problems. It's actually going to introduce new ones, because I can kind of do the loop where it's like, okay, on my Switch, I am the remote account and I'll use my account to play games. And since they belong to my account, I can access them. And then the other one will be the home Switch, and they can use their account, or Emmy can use like her account on the Switch Lite. And because that's the home Switch, she can access all the games as long as we're not usually doing it at the same time online. A third Switch would not be able to get in on that action, so it's like not great. That's actually one thing I really want from the Switch 2 is family accounts. I want Nintendo to figure out what Steam has done with family accounts and family game sharing, and hopefully we can get something like that. And that would. Do
you think excellent. Once the Switch 2 is out, you'll be able to be like, hey, this one is mine. You guys still have your Switch. It's just as good, I promise. You think they're just going to take over the Switch 2 also?
I mean, I think I will try to keep the Switch 2 to just me for a while, but my expectation is there will be a game on there that they see and they're like, I want to play that. So we'll see how capable I am of keeping that from happening. Not that, I like that they want to play games. It's cool. Sure. I was never going to be like, you guys got to play games and start with the NES and all that stuff. But when they started playing games, I was undeniably like, this is awesome. This is really great. So I never kind of discourage them, and I think it's good for them. They both become better at problem solving and dealing with challenges in general. But yeah, it also it's been fun. Like I've said before, they will get back into Tears of the Kingdom, and then they're playing that, and then they need help, and then suddenly I'm playing Tears of the Kingdom again in these small short bursts, which is actually a really great way to go back and play these games again when I don't have time to play the whole thing. So yeah, that's it, and that's kind of what my Nintendo gaming has been this last week and a half or so, is them needing help in Zelda or Emmy needing help in Tomodachi Life, which, man, I hope they make another Tomodachi Life. That game is so cool, but they seem to have deprecated Mii's to a certain extent, so maybe that's not something they will go back to. I don't know.
Anything else, Jeff, or should we read these last super chats?
No, that's it for me. Definitely just excited about Switch 2. Let's get that going. So I'll get these super chats. Where did we leave off? I think it was right here from Burrito. Sent in a generous super chat and said, Jeff, sleepy face, boomer noises in the distance.
I think this was me screaming about Persona again.
Yes, and then me kind of like doing I sleep. That you mentioned that, like I sleep, and then real shit when it's someone making fun of me for being a boomer. All right, Chrono Rig says, "Hey dogs, I have to go to the bathroom when the trailer comes out because I'll be at work. Have you had to do something like that for any type of reveal?" I have.
Good. I have to go to the bathroom when the trailer comes out.
They're gonna have to sneak away during work, right, to watch it.
Yeah. I feel like there's been a direct or something where I was like in an airplane, right? That kind of thing.
I was working at Formaggio Pizza near Ohio State campus, and this is the place that
so many.
I've had so many jobs. I've had so many jobs. This is the place that I went to the state and said they underpaid me, and the state got them to cut me a check for like $3,000. It was great. But when I was working there, one of the days, like the guy was like, "Hey, go take these flyers and put them on all these cars in this parking lot." And I was like, "Okay, I will do that." And it just so happened to line up with E3, and I think I was like covering stuff for. I think I was covering it for maybe it was BitMob. It could have been early GamesBeat even. I think it was early GamesBeat before I was on my full-time contractor position, before the full-time position. So it was like I was getting paid by story or something like that. So I just took my laptop and went to Barnes and Noble and watched all of E3 and covered it all day, and then came back and would like threw a bunch of the flyers in my trunk and was like, "Oh yeah, I totally did that." And I definitely got the sense that they caught on that I didn't go put the flyers on there, because the next time, like a week later, he asked me to give him a ride, and we put something in my trunk, and he saw a bunch of the flyers in there. So then a couple days later, he's like, "Go to this parking lot and do the same thing." And I kind of like, why does this place sound familiar? And it's like, oh, this is where his brother works, and I think he's trying to see if I'm really going there. So I perfectly did that. Every single car got a flyer, and they were none the wiser.
Incredible.
Yep.
Very well done, Jeff.
Yep. I've had a lot of jobs, everybody.
It's shocking. Wow, your work ethic seems incredible.
Hey, I made the right decision in the long run.
It all worked out.
It all worked out. Okay, let's see here. Rapid Fire 187. Love you guys. Thank you so much, Rapid Fire. Very generous. Dean Bowling says, "This is only for Christian and his trackball love."
Fuck yeah, let's go. Go trackball.
I feel like I can't comment. Colin Wood says, "Top 10 trackballs."
Number one is the trackball in Sega Sonic the Arcade. Nothing else matters.
And then the other ones are 9 versions of Golden Tee. Mr. Bowler says, "Jeff, if you make a wish on the monkey's paw and Nintendo makes Mario Hockey, but it's field hockey, how would you feel?" I mean, I have nothing against the field hockey people, but I mean, I've never met one either. So,
they're really niche, just like Persona.
We're
fans.
really good at Argentina's really good at.
Yeah, you guys would be. It's -9 outside right now. With the real feel, it's nuts out there. So there's ice everywhere.
Here.
L. Grubbs. Oh, go ahead, Christian. What?
Sorry. Continue. No, I was about to ask how much is
we
that
cannot
on
convert it to Celsius. I have no idea.
Yeah. I mean, like 32 degrees, positive is 0 degrees Celsius. So keep going way, way, way down.
Jesus.
Yep. L. Grug says, "With Mike being the Pog/Pog Slammer, what's Jeff's nickname? I'm stuck between Gooner Boomer, Boomer Gooner, or Jan's friend. Please make it Jan's friend."
No, you're good. You're the Gooner Boomer.
I don't want to be
idiot.
the Gooner Boomer.
Yeah. We should consider what you want all of a sudden now.
That would be mean, Mike.
This is not a democracy, motherfucker. We already picked. So you're the Gooner Boomer. Let's go.
Man.
There was a little bit where I was like, I might have to put my foot down about this Pog Slammer stuff, and like maybe like even like make him feel bad about it. Then I'm like, oh, whatever, I'll let it go.
Yeah, I was like, I was trying to like gauge you on this one. I'm like, this one feels like we might be like, we can't do this one, guys, but wasn't quite sure.
I
Yeah,
knew you would be the one to pick up on it first.
I don't know if people could tell. I was definitely laughing, but I was not like jumping on like to bring back the joke every single time like everyone else was. I'm like, well, let's see.
I was gonna like. I feel like I could get Dan off if I put off like it just feels kind of like me. It feels like you don't respect me, Dan.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He would. Yes, he would definitely. That would hurt him. It's minus 22 Celsius, Christian.
Yeah, damn. Holy shit.
It's cold.
Let's go.
That's not where humans should live. I'm just gonna say that.
It's basically just Mars outside. I think that does it for the super chats, Mike. Back over to you.
That does it for the show then. Thank you so much, everybody. Lots of super chats. Lots of people watching live tonight. I think everybody's excited for the Switch 2 as we are. If that gets announced on Thursday is when we do Game Us Decides, so we'll be able to just talk about it on Thursday night. That'll be fantastic. That'll be a lot of fun. Otherwise, though, we do have a new Blight Club tomorrow, back at its original time, around noon Pacific. So yeah, Blight Club, more Terminator, Danator action happening. Also, it's Friday, we're planning to do Bowser's Fury, excuse me, a race to beat Bowser's Fury on the Switch between me, Jeff, Dan, maybe Sean as well, raising money for those impacted by the fires in California. That's the plan there. So yeah, it's gonna be a busy week.
Yep, it's gonna be good. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Like Mike said, Thursday, if it happens, we'll be here. 9 p.m. Eastern time, 6 p.m. Pacific. See you then.
Bye. Might start streaming some Dark Souls 3. I'm still wired. That'd be a good decision. I just saw that. Funny, Christian.
Black Bull.
I should play more Cruise and Blast.
All right. How high are you going to get that on our list of 100 best Switch games, you piece
It'll
of
be
shit?
in there.